Hello everyone, welcome to my very first Blender tutorial. And from the thumbnails, you already know we are going to actually 3D build a lipstick and render it out like a photorealistic image. Let's get started. The Shift A, let's actually bring out a reference image. So we will usually, when I'm trying to do something, if you have experience with Blender and something like, I'm not gonna explain it so much in details. I'm just gonna, if you're very new to Blender, you can just follow step by step. So I'm actually hit Shift A and bring up this menu, and then we're actually gonna try to get our reference image. So we're gonna add a empty. We'll go down here, image, do that. You see there's a small window down here, so we can actually change the align or orientation of this empty. So we're gonna do the view. So now you see this is facing to our your brand new Blender is not gonna look like this layout, but once there are tons of millions of Blender intro level classes that you can just take a look at it. So I'm not gonna really go into details how the thing you use, but anyway, you can just follow the step by step over here. So now here we have empty here, and we're actually going to go here and to open up a reference image. So I go to here, reference image. What I'm trying to do, the color doesn't matter, so I'm gonna just pick this one. Well, the front, either way. So we have this image here. Oh, this is the empty already built, so I'm actually just gonna delete it. It's not really what we need. I'm gonna hit X, so just gonna delete that. Anyway, and now we're gonna actually move this reference image to here, to the center of 3D world, and because this is reference image with a pure white background, and the white is looks very distracting. So what we can do, we can lower the opacity here. Just kind of, because we only want to see the general shape of this using this reference image. So the color, everything doesn't really matter at this stage. So here, okay, we'll line up. Now we're gonna actually bring in a cube. So and add a mesh cube in here. All right, this cube is pretty big, so I'm actually gonna hit S and kind of downsize of the thing, because this is in the center. So now the best way we can do is actually we can move this reference image to kind of make it look like in-centered, rather than move the mesh we added in. So we can scale up the mesh a little bit. Now good. So now we're gonna actually go into hit the tab and go to the edit mode, and also hit Control Z to go to the Extrude mode. We can actually start building this shape. Hit G, grab it up along the Z axis, and then kind of grab the whole entire face, because in the Extrude mode, so we actually select the entire face. So, and then grab Z down here, grab that. So now what we're gonna do here, now we're gonna extrude and hit S again to kind of get that small size narrowed down, because you see there's this different layer of that. So you see this tiny orange dot over here. So we're just trying to get the estimated width of this cube, and then we're gonna stop there and hit the E again, extrude again, top. Now we have that general shape of that, and we can even actually E scale a tiny bit down here. We should be fine with that. Now usually you can see this is the whole thing, right? The lipstick. But for me, sometimes you can spend sometimes tricks to get this red square, make it into a circle. A lot of times you can just using the loop tool. But for me, I'm actually just going to use adding another cylinder to actually build them together and join them later on, and you will see what I mean later. It actually just much easier, making sense to me. I know there are a lot of professional modelers, they don't like this kind of way to do things, but for visual perspective and also my personal experiences, that works just fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to add another cylinder. Hit Shift A, hit the cylinder down here, and the cylinder now here, the vertex is 8. It should be fine. Sometimes when you have that different number, but it doesn't matter. I'm actually, next thing, I'm gonna hit S and scale down. Okay, and then grab it down here and scale down a little bit. Okay, cool. And now I'm going to go to the edit mode, hitting the tab key, and then grab it, Z here. And this one, I'm just gonna grab it down here, a little bit inside the base cube. Okay, so the next one, we actually, you see, that if you really have a chance to see the actual lipstick, the case out there is supposed to have some certain amount of thickness, right? So what we can do, only from this single one reference image, we have to guesstimate it. So we're just gonna hit E and extrude and hit S, kind of scale down. I think that should be good. And then hit an E again and extrude it down, but I hit the Z to kind of extrude it down here to make the shape, right? Front view, okay. In here. So yeah, sometimes you may confuse about how I might be able to see the different views like that, because I already programmed these keys onto my my mouse. So the mouse actually can work from that, but it's actually on the number keys is 1, 3, 5. I think if I'm remembering correctly, but you will have a certain way to figure that out. Anyhow. So this is kind of general shape of the base. I know it looks pretty blocky, but what we can do next, we can actually add a Subsurface Modifier, and after we select the cube on the base, we go to this icon as the modifier property icon, and go to here, and then add a Subsurface Modifier. Modifier, so we can control the level of subsurface. So we can do like 2. All right, so we're fine. Now you can see the bottom is no longer a cubical type of look. It just changed the way it shapes because it smooths things out. So what we can do here, we're gonna hit the tab key, and we're actually going to add some loops, loop cut. So hit the Control R. You can see the yellow here, the loop cut. We're gonna hit left click, and then hit you can see that you can move here. So basically, we want to do one down here, one up here. See that the curve is gonna be looks very tidy. And one of the tricks that I usually use is you see this. We didn't do anything yet after having this line click. We are going to right click and let it stay in the middle, because it automatically is gonna adding a loop cut between two vertices and right in the middle. And what we're gonna do, and we're actually going to use a bevel to Control B to bevel this loop and to kind of just dragging to the edge. Which means it's gonna be evenly distributing the loop cut to that. So we're gonna do it again. Control R here, right click to release, and Control B to kind of bevel. This is kind of my way to adding a loop cut. Okay, now you can see right now it's turning to a cylinder, but that's fine. We are actually going to adding more loop cut. Okay, we're gonna add a loop cut on the side, and a loop cut over this side. I know it's a lot of loop cut, and there are other ways of doing that, but for me, it worked just fine. And also, if you are beginners, it should be totally fine with that. Then let's see, another loop cut down here. I think should be pretty tight, and I can even bevel the thing to make it look pretty tight on the edge. And another one, loop cut, Control B bevel. I mean, yeah, looks pretty decent for me. And the next thing, I'm actually going to hit that and hit the right click to do the shade smooth to make it look so better. shape looks okay, but there's a lot of vertices going on. That's sometimes it can be an issue. But we're gonna do this. We can actually try to add another modifier. It's called the weighted normal. So sometimes it can help a little bit. It's that enable auto smooth when you do that. So we were actually going to enable the auto smooth. So we're going to here the object data property, and then we're going to do normals auto smooth. Yeah, so it looks better, right? Yeah. And then we can even kind of bump up the weight on that. But sometimes it's working, sometimes not, I think, but so far looks pretty decent to me. I think it's good enough. In the perfect world, I mean, not perfect world, in the reality, there's no such sharp angles. So usually this looks just fine to me. And when you render an image, it looks fine. Definitely we want to have certain smoothness on the edge. So far, I think it should be fine. Okay, cool. So same thing, we're going to do the cylinder. We want to adding a subsurface modifier, but usually if you get more experience, you don't want to wasting time to go to the menu, to go to find a subsurface modifier, just because this is a very commonly used modifier. There's a shortcut key for that, so we can just hit Control and choose a number, and then to actually make it pay attention on there. If I hit Control 2 and actually have a subsurface modifier built already with the 2 subsurface level already in, so that's kind of neat, right? And now you can see the cylinder shape's gone again, and now what we can do here is to basically adding more loops to kind of get the shapes back. So again, Control R and Control R, left click, and the Control and the right click and the Control B to kind of bevel. Just kind of get that done here. You see that it's gonna come into the edge. So for this scenario, because I'm gonna join these 2 things together, I don't want to do that. So another way I can do is basically to grab this one, hit double G, and then just slide up here. For the bottom part, if I'm going to exiting out the edit mode, I'm actually click that, and I'm gonna hit the number pad / key, and I'm going to individual editing mode. This is very useful. You see everything. You only see the selection item. So now you go into edit mode again. Because I'm not going to see this bottom part, and this face is going to be merged inside the. This image is this bottom face is going to merge inside the cube base of the lipstick case. What I'm going to do now, I'm actually simply just going to delete this face. After selecting this, hit X face. You can see that. Suddenly I don't need to do anything for the bevel or anything to adding loop cut to making sure the edge is sharp. It's already being straight. This is one of the tricks that I use very often when I'm modeling stuff, that it's not really necessary to wait my time to do any crease or any loop cut to make it better. And another thing we want to do here, you can see the inside. It's not really a nice round shape. We can actually adding a loop cut inside. I hit Control R, just get that. Oh, that's in the outside. So let's go jump in here. Control R. Yeah, you see that? The big changes, small circle, and then left click, and we can actually just drag, push it down. Let me go here. Push it down. Right? Yeah. Cool. And to make it more tight, so we actually select the very bottom face and hit the E and S, extrude it, scale down. Should be fine. And honest with you, people will not see what it looks like inside, but I just trying to do good on that. And also here, we can actually, you see this bevel, because the subsurface modifier actually get the edge disappeared. It's like even out. You actually want to have a pretty sharp edge. It's not extreme sharp, but need to be looking good for realistic looking image. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna Control R to adding a loop cut, can drag it up. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you can see that much better. And I even actually want to add another loop cut in here, between here, just making sure the thickness of the cylinder is still there. Now I think looks okay for me. What I'm gonna do next is gonna shade smooth. Yeah, so far, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And now I'm going to hit the numbers / key to kind of let it out. Now we have a cylinder done. So as you can see, after we have the subsurface, the sub modifiers, and it's kind of shrinking down the size of this cylinder a little bit. So I'm going to kind of scale it up a little bit. But if I'm hit scale, it's gonna actually scale everything based on the origin to any direction. So I only want to scale this to become wider. I don't need to scale this thing to become longer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this item, hit tab key to actually go into the edit mode, hit A and hit S and hit Shift Z, and then I'm just going to scale up the sides a little bit. You see, this cylinder didn't get longer, it's just getting a little bit wider on that. Okay, you got it? All right, cool. Same thing for this guy. I think we might need to make it look a little bit bigger. Right now the origin is down here, so we are going to make the origin to go into the geometry. So select the items, we're gonna right click and set origin to geometry. So now you see that origin is here. So I'm going to S, Shift Z, and just tiny bit. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. So now it's okay. I feel the cylinder is kind of too big. Shrink it down. S, Shift Z. Yeah. I know these things you can twist these things forever, and tons of details, but that's just what it is. And if you're trying to be perfect on everything, you're just gonna spend more times on the perfecting the details. So next, what we're gonna do, you see there are two items we selected. We're gonna hit Shift and select both, and then hit Control J to join it. Now it's become one. Yeah, and always I have a habit trying to keep my file and mesh organized. So I typically want to do that, I can hit F2 to rename my mesh. So it's like I can say just the body, and then it should be fine. And it's body now. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So next thing I'm going to do is actually modeling this lipstick. But I already noticed if we already have this mesh or the cylinder inside, so we can just build this lipstick using the geometry inside the cylinder. So this is something that very commonly used, and it's kind of pretty nice to have these. I can temporarily turn off the subdivision modifier effect, so I can see all the vertices. And as you can see, I already select the bottom part of surface vertices. Another shortcut key I really like to use is to use Control and the number pad plus key or minus key to kind of select the vertices whenever I select the one face, and they just can continue expanding or shrinking down the selection of your current selection. So right now it looks perfectly fine. See, this is what I select. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to hit Shift D to duplicate it, and then hit the P to separate this selection, and to pay attention on this part, and again hit P, selection. So now you see there are two items and over there. So I'm gonna hit the tab key and to exit out the editing mode. Now I'm selecting this part. All right, this is the kind of the new geometry that we separated things out. And now what we're gonna do next, we are going to make this as a lipstick. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this and move up. Okay, move up here, and yeah. But the problem you can see there here is because this part is open. You know, we don't want it to be open, so we want it to close. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna hit Alt key and left click and select the entire loops and hit F key to fill. I know this is Ngong, but let me finish. Because the Ngong, we are actually going to utilize this to kind of build the shapes for the lipstick, all right? So it doesn't really matter for Ngong or perfectly squared, but we can do something about it. We can just kind of do. We can actually just utilize this. It's not going to be a big deal. But one thing we want to do is you can see this shape. It's kind of a little bit wonky, and also this is really not really facing directly to see what is the lipstick head supposed to look like. But I know it's going to be like something cut off over here on this side. Let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna add some loop cut, kind of getting the general shape of that, and I select the top part. And another very cool tools that I'm often use, I like to use for this scenario. So I'm gonna open up the left side bar. So by hitting the T key, and we can go here. It's called shear, right? And then you see this window, because I already select the top vertices. There's a tiny box in here that's coming out. So this is what's gonna happen is we can just kind of tilt it. Yeah, tilt it the top vertices without changing any weird angles. So this way is really nice to have that. We can actually just kind of get that perfectly aligned, approximately aligned to that angle. Okay, and now we can exit out, and we can select the whole thing and drag it down a tiny bit. Yeah, you can see that. And yeah, I know the shapes look a little bit different, but we'll fix that. The top part is a little bit tricky. We are going to Alt select the entire loop and kind of like get a smaller size, and hit double G, kind of grab that, and we're gonna turn on the Subdivision Surface Modifier. Looks like the shape, and you can see the solid mode. Yeah, it's getting close to what we want, and we just need to spend some time to kind of really tweaking on the lipstick. So we're gonna do that. So we can actually adding on a loop cut here. And select the entire loops, right? And I can drag it down a little bit. And again, I'm just wanting to tweak the angle of a little bit to make it a little bit sharper, and see how it looks. Oops, I turned it off. So far, I think it's okay. Let's move it down, and I'm gonna shrink it down the top face. Okay, by far, I think we don't need. We wanted to kind of tilt this back head, come back towards the center icon. As you can see, oops, we're gonna go back to mode. You can see there's a kind of curve. Yeah, that's what make it look the design, and this lipstick looks pretty high end. What we can do here, we can just kind of drag that thing, and we are going to use the proportion editing. So this is things you can just turn it on. Basically, it's more like the liquify tool if you know the Photoshop a little bit. So once you select a certain part, if you actually move, it's supposed to be proportional edit. But now because if you look at the top right corner, left corner, it looks pretty big. The size, proportional size is 1, so I'm actually gonna make it smaller so you can see, ooh, there's a circle coming here, right? So within the circle, my transformation is actually gonna affect the vertices within the circle. So it's kind of a pretty neat tool to actually having this type of thing going on. So what I'm trying to do now, I probably need to add another loop cut and just get it up here. And when I actually having the loop cut here, adding a loop cut, I can hit E or F. It's trying to see the F is more like to lean to the other side of the edge. So actually having this effect. I just need some geometries kind of hold this side of the shape. Now I can select that. I can use the G and the grab part. I feel like it's very, very subtle thing to do, and I'm trying to move. But it has it looks pretty important to me to get the shapes right, and again, this type of thing is gonna take forever to do, to kind of tweak on the details. But if you're doing that professionally, that definitely worth the time to do it right. And also your client or whatever you're modeling for, that's what it makes good a modeler. You're supposed to pay attention on all these details. But for the sake of this tutorial, you see that looks okay to me, and I wanna to actually getting this edge is kind of getting a little bit narrower, so I'm going to kind of scale it down a little bit. I can turn the proportion editing off, just hit the O key, and now I'm just gonna getting that small, and hit the G, double G, just kind of slide down. Let me do this. The entire loop down. You see, they have a nice curvatures going on here. Z down here. Okay. And yeah, I'm just gonna and I'm going to tighten up the top. See, hit the E and hit S. Just kind of get that. Yeah, I think so far so good. Again, you can spend hours to kind of get the thing right, but so far look for me, it's fine. Okay, and now after we did this, feels like because the angle is not a really exactly the same as the reference image, we're gonna tilt that. We can hit the R and the Z. Just kind of show you, what we have. So see, it's very close to what we have. So we're gonna do that later on. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna turn on the Subsurface Modifier for this thing. So far, I think should be fine. What we got. Now what we're gonna do the next is actually build this whole case. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put these two things together as one group. To hit Shift click, left click, and to select them, and hit M to adding a new collection. So we can just say lipstick. Okay, cool. And then we can just kind of close down the thing. This is the reference. We can, sometimes I always like to having backup. And so for me, these things doesn't cost any money to do a backup reference. What I'm gonna do, I'm trying to make it look easy when I'm working with the lipstick. I'm actually just gonna duplicate the reference image. Shift D, and right click to put it back, and then to put the thing into the lipstick. Now I can move the second reference image, and I can just kind of move along the axis and to getting things over here lined up, so we can start modeling this guy. All right, cool. Now what we're gonna do next is actually going to build using a cube. Again, it's too big. Let's get it small. Yep, looks nice. Then looks okay. Let me move a little bit. Okay, cool. Again, let's go move it up. Hit the Z and Alt Z. Go to the X-ray mode and tab editing mode and grab this whole thing. All right, grab Z up here. Okay, so now we have a general shape of this, but there's a lot of details of that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add it on some loop cut to kind of block out the stuff that we're trying to build. Okay, here certainly, and there another one here. Okay, and because we are going to modeling this part of the kind of stuff like embossed part, and we are just going to build some geometries for that. Okay, so we definitely need some loop cut for that. Reference is reference. You are just going to be making a lot of creative decisions, unless you're really modeling for industrial stuff like or 3D printing stuff. You have to be super precise with the number of the stuff and the numbers and the length of anything. So that for the purpose of visuals, we're fine with now. And now we're gonna do the trick again. So we're just gonna adding a loop cut in center and left click and Control R, left click, right click, and Control B to kind of bevel. Just adding that geometries in here. Okay, cool. So now we have all the geometries down here. So what we're going to do next is we are going to build the details, right? Again, if you know how to select the things over here in the edit mode, you can see there's vertices, edges, and the face. We are actually going to select in the face in here. So we're just going to select these two faces, right? Yeah. And from the reference image, these two faces actually have some certain depth. So what we can do here, we are going to extrude these two faces out along the y-axis. So hit E, hit the E, Y, and in here. Okay, it's not too much. Should be fine. Okay, now we have that, right? You see? Yeah, cool. And another thing for here, you see there's actually a black bar. That was actually a geometry that we also need to kind of extrude it out. So we can just do that. We select the entire loop of face. And what we need to do next is hit the face. Or you see here, extrude face along normals. And now if we are actually extruding things out, it just kind of along the normals. It'll be nice, right? That's exactly what we want. And we hit left click. Now the geometry is just kind of extruded along the normal. Normal means the face direction. So looks perfectly fine to me. Next thing what we're gonna do, because the general shape is done, the detail is done, but in the realities for photorealism, these are too sharp. Man, it's gonna killing people who ever pick the things up to like sharp like a knife. What we're gonna do next, we're gonna add a Subsurface Modifier, Control 2, and it ruins everything. It's just the way it's going to be. So what we're gonna do next, adding loop cuts. So hit edit mode, Control R to hit edit mode, kind of getting the shapes back. So what we're gonna do next is I prefer to having the vertices showing. So I'm hit 1 or hit that icon to get it back. So I'm just gonna continue adding some loop cuts. Okay, and you know how things going with loop cut. Adding another one here. Control B, bevel, real quick. Yes. Bevel. Okay, we can do that. And also because this item, the things like have the looks like exactly the same from the left side to right hand side. You can actually use a mirror modifier to do something to reduce your work. But for me, it should be fine with this purpose. But in the future, I will demonstrating how to use mirror modifier. Okay, I'm just gonna continue adding the loops to get this thing done. Okay, and yeah, a lot of loop cuts. Yep. Actually, I don't want to edit this one. I want to add E here. B. That makes more sense. B. Yeah, there are tons of ways to do things in CG. I'm just choosing the way that I think is making more sense to me, and you know, I want to add a loop cut here. Yeah, some bevel. Just tidying things up, right? Yeah. And let me do shade smooth. Looks okay. Yeah. Right. Probably down here. Double G and grab it down here. Oh, come on. Double G. Kind of tied it up. Alt, left click and double G to kind of grab it. These are just kind of works that kind of pretty boring, but need to get it done anyway. So now if we tap out the edit mode, looks pretty nice and neat. Then I'm actually adding another loop cut to get that done. Okay, cool. So far, you know, for beginners, this looks pretty good, and it should be good enough for product renders. You know, there are definitely ways we can actually reduce the vertices by using a perfect quads, but you know, for the type of stuff we're doing here, should be fine. Let's move on to the next stuff. Next thing will be this logo. Well, yeah, I mean, we can make a cube and just kind of extrude it and to make a shape and look like exactly like this logo, but it takes forever. You know, you can download a logo to actually convert a logo to a SVG file, which I already did in the Illustrator. So what we can do next, we're gonna go down here, file, import, and SVG up here. So we're gonna go to the file. So I already have a SVG logo already built. So I import SVG here. As you can see here is the curve. Default when you actually import SVG is going to be a curve down here. So we were going to resize this and kind of make to actually make this properly. Oops, hit R and X and if you hold shift control, you can actually kind of rotate in 15 degrees angles. Once you hit the rotation 90, you can see the left corner. 90, you can stop there. All right, yeah, cool. And now we're gonna come back in as S to downsize this thing. Oh, come on, my input. Let me do this real quick. Convert it to change to English. Yeah, because I'm Chinese. I have a different input on my computer, my type things, but you guys don't care about that. And then we're gonna set up the origin to the geometry. So we're gonna do set origin to geometry. Now we can scale it up and down, and they're just gonna move things around to match. Scale along the z-axis. It's a reference image. It's gonna be perfect, but we should be fine with that. Okay. Cool. Now it's all good, and we're gonna move into the position here. Here. Cool. And it should be fine with that. And next thing we're gonna do here is to look into this SVG file. Is already have a materials built in, so we actually need to get rid of it. We don't need that. So now it looks like mesh. Because it's a curve and also it's kind of flat, right? Doesn't have any geometry, volume, shapes. What we can do here, we're gonna go to the curve tab. We go to the geometry. We're gonna do the extrude. See, suddenly this become, yeah, something, right? Yeah, we don't need that much. We probably just need should be fine, 0.01, and we can actually move the thing along y-axis. Just put it in. Yeah, I think it looks pretty fine to me, right? Yeah, and let's turn on the lipstick. So we are actually having, turn off, put all these together. I'll select, hit M. I would say lipstick case. Done. And we can just move things. Oh, the things need to go to that folder, a collection, and I hit select that, hit M. What's going on? Let's just drag it to here. Yeah. Yeah. Grab X. Oh, what's going on here? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's grab that X in here, and we are. Let's see the lipstick. Cool. So basically, this is what we have so far, and I think we have already successfully done our modeling for this product. So the next tutorials we are going to texturing it to make sure the texture is properly done, and yeah, this step is done. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.